Do you want to know how to discipline a 4-year-old with ADHD? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, and strengthen relationships, all through the lens of the principle self-government. In this video, we're talking about 4-year-olds with ADHD. ADHD can be difficult. In this video, we're going to be talking about what it looks like with 4-year-olds and what you can do to help that 4-year-old learn some self-mastery, even though they might be neurodiverse dealing with ADHD. Toddlers, age 4, can be so fun, so cute, so smart, but they also can be very unpredictable, emotional, moody, impulsive, and if they have ADHD, then guess what? They can even have more impulsivity. They can be distracted more often, which, at age 4, they're distracted a lot anyway. But then it could seem like it's even worse, and they could be hyper-focused on things so that sometimes they're not paying attention to other things that they should be. There are a lot of different things that could be happening if you have a 4-year-old with ADHD. But guess what? Teaching self-government was designed for people who are neurodiverse. Even though the Teaching Self-Government parenting program is used by all kinds of families all over the world, this program was originally created for foster children that I was living with who were neurodiverse. So I've raised all 4 of my children with the Teaching Self-Government method, but also I have done therapeutic treatment care for many foster children who have neurodiversities such as ADHD. ADHD was actually one of the most common diagnoses of all of the children that I worked with. So let's talk about what I did to help them learn self-government, even though they might have a hard time focusing, be a little bit more impulsive, maybe have increased levels of anxiety, and have a hard time being able to self-regulate, which can definitely be the case. I know moodiness is probably one of the most difficult things that can be connected to ADHD behavior. I want you to know that most of the youth that came to my home who had ADHD were on medications of some sort, and that's because the government just naturally went to how can we help them in the quickest way possible, and they went to meds. I know not all parents decide to use ADHD medications. Sometimes it can take the edge off of some of the symptoms to help really teach other skills that can be useful. And some people are like, nope, I'm not doing that at all. This child just processes differently and we're gonna just help them with that. Either way, this is the solution. There needs to be something that is predictable, concrete, something that the child can use to prepare ahead of time so that they don't end up in situations that they feel like they are constantly not able to handle. When a person has ADHD, they oftentimes respond really well to things that are predictable. They then know exactly what to expect in all of their interactions. This helps their connections and their problem solving. So when the youth would come to my home, the very first thing I would teach them is the 4 basic skills of self-government. These children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills of self-government, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. This book here teaches following instructions. There are 5 steps to following an instruction. You look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. If a person will not follow instructions, you actually cannot parent them. To be able to follow instructions from yourself or somebody else is actually the indicator that a person is on a self-government track. So what about this book? This book, Big Win for Quinn, teaches the skill accepting consequences. If a person is not given the opportunity to accept their own consequences, they can't learn cause and effect, and they can't learn self-government. They'll forever think that what is happening to them is actually somebody else's fault instead of their own. They might even think it's your fault. So what about this book? Porter Earns a Quarter. This one's actually about a 4-year-old. So these are all of my children, and they're all in every book. So this one is 4. Porter learns the skill accepting no answers and criticism. There's 4 steps to that skill. When a person learns to accept no answers, usually they can observe boundaries and tell themselves no when they shouldn't be doing something. And then there's this one, Page Takes the Stage. This is about the skill disagreeing appropriately. These books are ideal for 4-year-olds. They help teach the 4 basic skills and they help reinforce those skills when you're wanting to use them. So what's the best way to teach the skills? Well, you read the book, and then I usually suggest getting a little jar that's empty and another one that has beans in it. And what you do is every time you practice the skill or one of the steps of the skills, then you move a bean to the jar. So every time you follow instructions, that's 5 steps, so that's 5 beans in the jar. Every time you accept a no answer, that's 4 steps, so 4 beans in the jar. Usually, once you've read all the books and practiced the skills multiple times, parents pretending to be children, children pretending to be parents sometimes, then what happens is you have the one jar filled up and you can have a treat. At this point, you can teach your child how you will correct things if they don't actually use the skills of self-government. Now, here's where the discipline comes in. Now, of course, self-government is all about having self-discipline. But if you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know that the parents have to also have an active role in teaching the child to learn self-government, which means that at first we need to be giving feedback to our children. So this book here, Parenting a House United, teaches the parent the skills that they need to help their child learn self-government by teaching them how to do proper feedback. There's 5 different teaching styles that parents learn in this book for how to correct their children, how to teach them, and how to help encourage them to practice good behavior and to keep their roles and relationships in the right place. So one of those key things is how to correct behavior. Do your children know exactly how you will correct them every time? You may not think you've spelled it out before, but we're all creatures of habit and you probably do similar things each time. But are those things the things that are really working, or are they things that you like how they feel or make your family feel afterward? My guess is if you're looking for solutions, you might be looking for something that is maybe a little bit more calm and a little bit more user-friendly for you and the children. The Teaching Self-Government Parenting Program will help you and the children both have the skills that you need so that the communications can happen in a very predictable way. This decreases some anxiety. Now, I do know some children who have ADHD are very strong-willed children who oftentimes present as if they have ODD, or oppositional defiant disorder, which means they push against a lot of things. All the more reason to be predictable. If you're predictable, then they know that they are having a choice. If you go to teachingselfgovernment.com, you'll notice that I have things there like the choices map and stuff that people use who are taking the course. When you show your child the choices map, when you teach them the skills out of the book, then those children get the opportunity to see this is going to be the same way every single time, no matter what I do. My strong will isn't going to beat this down, so I have to just choose what is going to be in my best interest. Now, at first, a child with ADHD may make decisions just because then they won't suffer a negative consequence. But over time, they ultimately end up having a change of heart, which is what the whole thing is about anyway. So what do you do if that 4-year-old child goes completely out of control? Well, 4-year-olds are different. Some 4-year-olds can really focus for a longer period of time. Some of them can role reverse. Some of them can practice skills. Other 4-year-old children have a struggle. So when something goes wrong that they feel like they don't have control over, they might start to spiral out of control. You've got to have a plan for that. We call this having a calm plan. Each child in the family needs a calm plan. When they're older, we use something called the rule of 3. When they're younger, we use a calm down spot as a trigger spot, and then we do a regular correction. All of these things are talked about in the TSG parenting course, which you can find at teachingselfgovernment.com. Go to that parenting course, go to the website right now, and you'll be able to also get a free Calm Parenting Toolkit that will help you launch off on your road to teaching self-government. I'll see you there.